friends, welcome back to Created by Caffeine. So this week I ran out of my makeup remover wipes and I realized that this will be the perfect opportunity for me to do a DIY that I've been wanting to do for a long time, which is making my own makeup remover wipes from scratch. So today we're going to walk through the process of actually making the cleanser part of it, but I also wanted to throw in an additional DIY, which is making the little face scrubbies. So this is really great because the combination of the two, with the cleanser, you know everything that's going into it. It's all really natural and healthy ingredients. And then with the scrubbies, you know that you're not contributing to even more waste going into the landfill, unlike the wipes. So you can use these over and over, throw them in the washing machine when you're done, and you're good to go. So let's get started on that. The supplies that you'll need for this DIY are an empty glass jar, coconut oil, distilled water, and any essential oils that you want to add to your mixture. Alright, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to mix our coconut oil and our water together. So I'm going to do 5 tablespoons of each, and we'll see how that looks. And then 5 tablespoons of water. Just barely got enough. And then I'm going to add Purification, Lavender, and Frankincense to my blend. Lavender and Frank are really good for healing skin, and they're good for softening skin, aging, wrinkles, and then Purification is really good for cleaning and killing bacteria, so I'm choosing that mixture, but you can really do any essential oils that you like, you know, whether you want it to smell good or have these added health benefits, so that part is up to you. So I'm going to do 8 drops of lavender. I'm going to do 5 drops of Purification, and then I'm going to do another 8 of the Frankincense. Alright, and then I'm going to put this lid back on, give it a good shake, and I'll check back in with you tonight when I take off my makeup, and we'll see how it does. But for now, let's try making our own little face scrubby. So for the DIY scrubbies, I already made 2 to test out a couple different patterns. I think that I like this size, but I ended up with this ring in the middle. I don't know if that's by my fault or the patterns, but I felt like this one came out really nice. So I'm going to use this pattern to make our scrubbies, but I'm going to try and get it around this same size. So follow along and we'll see how we do. For this DIY, you'll need 100% cotton yarn. I recommend cotton because it's going to be really gentle on your face as opposed to acrylic or polyester yarn, and it's going to hold up in the washer really well. You'll also need a 4mm crochet hook, a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and a paper clip. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do is make a slip stitch to put your crochet hook on. If you don't already know how to crochet, there are a ton of great tutorials out there. And if you're interested in seeing a tutorial by me on it, I definitely will do that, but I figured for this one, I'll just jump right in as if you already know. But let me know if that's something you want to see. So I have the yarn on my hook now. First thing I'm going to do is chain 4. So this is the most basic stitch of crochet. You're just doing a simple chain until you have 4 on the line. And then we're going to loop back into that first one and do a slip stitch to form that ring there. So now our next step is to double crochet 12 times into the center of this ring. And because it's only 4 stitches around, It's a little bit difficult to tell where the center is, but if you stretch it out, you can find it pretty easy, and it'll be easier as you continue to grow that to find it in the future. So we're doing 12 double crochets all the way around. So the double crochet means you're going to loop over prior to going into that center of the ring, pull up, and then you're going to go through that first one, loop over again, and then go through both of the loops. And repeat that for 12 times. Make sure that you get the entire piece of the yarn. Don't leave any little bits behind, because if you have to unravel it, then it's going to be a lot harder to do that, and it's going to knot up more than likely. So make sure that you're getting through all of the segments of yarn every time. So we were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to be 10. 11, and 12. Another thing I really like about this face scrubby pattern is that it really doesn't have to be perfect. You're using these as a, as a tool to get your job done, and so as long as they're doing their job, yes, you want them to look nice, but to serve their purpose is the greater thing. So as you can see, after we did those 12 stitches around, it really did open up this hole in the middle here, which is nice. It's not quite as big as this one was, so it's a lot more on target for what I was going for. So now that we've double crocheted all the way around that ring 12 times, we are going to do 2 double crochets into this first stitch here, and then we're going to do a single double crochet into the second stitch, repeating that all the way around. What's going to help you out at this point to know when you've made it around is put a stitch marker, or I like to use a paper clip, on this last loop that's already on your crochet hook. And don't drop your hook like I did. So once you've got that stitch marker on, you can continue on in the pattern, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into this first loop. So bringing it through and off there, although I left a strand, there we go. So that's 1. And this is 2. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the second stitch. And that's 1. And then we're going to repeat by doing 2 double crochets into this third stitch. Alright. I'm actually going to move this down into my lap, that way it's easier to work. And then if you lose track of where you were, you can see how this stitch is pretty bulky. That one has the 2 double crochets, whereas this one only has this 1 line headed into this previous stitch, so that was a single. So you can usually tell by comparison where you left off if you miscount. So we just did our double. We're going to do a single double crochet. A little bit confusing there, but I think that y'all will get it. And we're going to end on 2 double crochets right here where we left our stitch marker. Now it is a little bit in the way for me here. If it is for you, you can take it out at this point now that you know you've made it around. So we finished off that round and it's looking pretty good. I'm going to take this stitch marker out here and move it up to the stitch that we just finished. Once I figure out where, darn thing, you might not want to use an airplane because this is sometimes confusing on how to get off. But it's the only paperclip we have and they're pretty darn cute. Carson got them from Boeing at a career day thing at UA. So for our third round, we're going to do that same 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then we're going to do that 2 double crochets. So it's going to be 2 1 1 2 1 1. And I'm going to have these directions written out below. It definitely helps while you're working to have the written reference, so no shame there, but I do think it's helpful to sometimes see someone do it as well. So we're going to continue on onto that third row, starting with our 2 double crochets. What you're doing by working 2 stitches into 1 hole is you're actually building that extra length up to cover the circumference of your round. So that's really important. Almost every crochet pattern where you're working in the round, you're going to do some sort of increase like that. And working 2 stitches into 1 loop is going to be the most common way of doing that. So I'm just going to finish this up here, this round. So this is what it looks like at the end of the third round, and it's still not as big as this. I think that 1 more go around will be perfect. So we're going to mark our stitch again. And this time we're going to do 2 1 1 1 and then 2 1 1 1 1. So let's get started. I'm going to take this little plane off now because I know where we are. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slip stitch into that last stitch there to join this last stitch with the first stitch there. And while we do still have a little bit of a discrepancy here, and I'm sure a more advanced crocheter would know how to make that look more even, this is going to tie that off at the end there pretty nicely. Nice enough for this project at least. So we're going to cut this. I've just pulled out that last stitch a lot, to about 5 inches there. I'm going to cut it off, and then I can take the end attached to my ball, pull it out, set that aside, and all we need to do now is sew in these 2 ends, and we are good to go. So I'm going to thread this on to my darning needle. Darning needles are really great. They have a big old opening on the back here. You wouldn't want to try and do this with a regular needle. You're just never going to get that yarn through it. But the darning needle is really soft. This one's plastic, so it's bendy. But you're not doing any sewing with it. You're just going between the stitches. So this actually came with a starter crochet kit that I got a while back. But you can find these for really cheap at any store. So take a look at that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to thread this in the middle of a couple of these stitches going this way. I'm wanting to work towards the left so that I can pull that last, so that I'm pulling this last stitch, which is a little bit higher, down into those stitches, which is just going to give it a little bit of a cleaner edge here. And then I'm going to bring it down through this stitch. And then I'm going to work backwards that way. You don't want to work in just one direction and just on one row. You're going to want to vary it up a little bit. The more convoluted you can make your working in of the ends, the better that it's going to stay. So at least that's what I think. So that's what we're going to go with today. So I've worked that through a couple different lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it really tight to where it bunches up and it sticks out a little bit here. And then I'm going to cut it pretty short. Set that aside. And then when you pull it back out, you're going to find that those ends will go back into your sewing, go back into your crochet work and hide themselves. So it's going to give you a pretty clean end and you're not going to be able to see where those were. And I'm just going to do the same with this starting one, although it doesn't have to be as worked in because it's pretty well tied into that core of your design. So I'm pretty happy with that. That sewn in end. I'm going to cut it, pull it out, and it's pretty lopsided, but again, it's a utilitarian item. This one's pretty cute. You can use any fun colors you want. I just thought I'd use white because it's pretty easy to follow and easy to hide your ends as well. When I was sewing these ends in, it was hard to keep them within the same color family but also get a really secure end. But I will check back with you later tonight when I'm taking off my makeup and we'll see how these work out. Alright, so it's the end of the day and I'm going to take off my makeup. So I have my homemade makeup remover and I have this makeup remover wipe that we crocheted earlier. And I'm going to try it out and see how it works. So let's see. It smells really good, which is nice. Definitely can smell the lavender and the purification. So I'm just getting that a little bit wet and I'm gonna take off all the space makeup. So I only did about half of it, so I can go back and wipe with the dry side as well. And it's doing a pretty good job, you can see. So I'm going to do the other side now. And that looks pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with this, and to know that this is going to be more eco-friendly than throwing away wipes every day, and I can just throw this in the laundry and use it time and time again, and the fact that this only took like 2 minutes to make, maybe even less, that's a huge plus. So I'm going to call this a success. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!